December 7, 1941. Glasgow resident John Woods, a United States Marine, remembers.
It caught everybody by surprise. The outfit that I was in had only been at Pearl Harbor a week. We'd only got there on December the 1st, and we were actually in transit. We were going to go to Wake Island, and we got as far as Pearl Harbor, and we didn't even have our rifles out. They were all crated up when we left Guantanamo Bay. Most of us were coming from breakfast that morning, and we began to see puffs of anti-aircraft fire up in the air above Pearl Harbor and Hickam Field. I wasn't right down in the harbor area. I was outside between Pearl Harbor and Honolulu, but we were close enough that we could see the puffs of anti-aircraft fire, and we could see some of the Jap airplanes, and nobody knew what was going on. Everybody thought one of the other branches of services having maneuvers of some kind. I saw some planes coming down. They were kind of following the coastline from Honolulu down towards Pearl Harbor, and they were flying at a high altitude and then going into a dive. There were 2 or 3 coming down at one time, and one of them burst into a ball of fire. So I thought that was too realistic to be maneuvers in. A little later on, we got word from down in the harbor that it was a Japanese attack. We all went down to our storage tents where our rifles were crated up, and they started breaking crates open and throwing everybody a rifle and a bandolier of ammunition and told us to fire at any targeting range, but there weren't any Japanese airplanes really that bombed us. There was one circle the camp area where we were, but he was too far out of range to fire. Sometime during the morning, I guess it was when that second wave of planes came in, somebody, I don't know where it was coming from, it wasn't Japanese planes, it was anti-aircraft fire from down in the Hickam Field, I guess, or the ships down at Pearl Harbor. They began to fire out there over our heads. It was getting too close for comfort. We ran up there to a building that was under construction. It was a Marine base, later named Camp Catlin. They had the roof over the building, but no siding on it. We all jumped over inside of it and laid down against that concrete footing and put our hands over the back of our head. We were just hoping that they wouldn't come any closer to us than they were, but they finally quit. Everybody began to kind of raise up and look around, and the man, his head and mine were about 10 or 12 inches apart, I guess, and we both raised up and looked at the same time, and neither one said anything to the other, but his face was white, just as white as it could be. And I just wondered to myself if my face was as white as his. That was the most uneasy moment I had during the attack that morning.
And that wasn't to be the last time John Woods would encounter Japanese fire. His story also then takes an ironic turn.
The 19th of December, we left for Midway. We landed on Midway on Christmas Eve morning. I spent 15 months on Midway. I was on Midway on June the 4th, 1942, when the Japs attacked Midway. And that was about 6 months later now. And I stayed on Midway until April 43, and then went back to the States. And I went to Camp Lejeune and spent 2 years. And then sometime after April 45, I went back to Pearl Harbor. When the war ended, and I was at the same place the day it ended as it was the morning it began.
Having just celebrated his 86th birthday, November 20th, on the 65th anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor, John Woods' voice rings as loud and clear about his devotion, commitment, and allegiance to this United States of America as his actions did all those years ago.
I'm proud of the fact that I did do my time during the war, that I wasn't drafted, I volunteered. I still enjoy going to all the reunions that I go to. Of course, we talk about the same thing over and over, you know, but I still enjoy it.
To Mr. John Woods and all veterans today, WCLU Radio thanks you, we salute you, and may God continue to bless you.